Hello and welcome. Welcome to the session tonight. I want to be sure that I want to be sure I can be heard. And okay, is that you, Faith?
Yes, it's me.
Okay. So yes, welcome everybody, welcome. I know somebody has been here. So what we're going to do is, if you're joining the session, introduce yourself in the comment box in the chat room. You know, introduce yourself in the chat room, and let us know where you're watching from. We'd like to know where you're watching this from. Okay, and we'd like to know. And like I said, um, I already busted the myth. Not myth. I'm busted the surprise. But yeah, I'll announce it again shortly. But then we'll be looking forward to. I have something special for the most active participant tonight. Something very special. So yeah, from time to time, you'll be on the lookout. So yes, we're going to be kicking off soon, very soon. So, Faith, I think at this point I'll hand over to you.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay.
Let me. I think they don't know yet that we have gone live, so probably I'd have to go and inform them.
Okay. It's here yet.
Hmm.
You said what, sir?
Hmm?
What did you
What
say?
do you think? Okay, I said they probably don't know that we've gone live, so I have to contact them again.
Okay, no one is here yet.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I can see that two people have joined, so if you join, please help us introduce yourself.
Can connect to you too, so that I
Mm-hmm.
can see. Oh. Hi, Flora. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. You are welcome. I'm sure that you have expectation tonight. I invite you to relax and get very best from the webinar. Our speaker is ready for us tonight. If you are joining us, please introduce yourself so that we can see you. If you're joining us and you can hear my voice, please introduce yourself in the comments so that you get a shout out. Welcome, 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 welcome. You are just joining us. Please introduce yourself in the comments so that you get a shout out tonight. You are welcome. You are welcome. But CJ, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. I can.
Okay.
Okay. So okay. So I think we can go ahead. We can go ahead while we wait for other people to join in. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. This is going to be an amazing session. Our doctor is already here, and I know he cannot wait to dish out what he has come with for all of us. And this conversation is so important because whether you are a mother, a father, a health professional, or somebody who just wants to live healthy, you will always encounter issues. You will always encounter these questions. You will always encounter opinions, advice online. Like people are saying, um, for you to lose weight, you have to cut calories, calorie in, calorie out. You have to just stop eating food, just eat only once a day. Mad, right? Mad. Eat 1 meal a day. Increase your protein, or they will tell you to work out. What kind of workout should you do? Well, they will say different things, or they will tell you to do portion control. Portion control. Now, there was something that trended. A very popular celebrity. I won't call her a celebrity. Let me just say an influential figure, right? So she lost a lot of weight recently. And in fact, there are many people in my mind because there's just a lot going on, especially for women. So this woman, she lost weight, and then she came around to tell her audience that, hey, look, there's okay, not even her friend came to now post on social media that, look, for you to lose weight, you don't need to forget every other thing they're telling you, all these things that they're telling you, or doctors are saying this, or these people are saying that. Forget all of those things. There's only one proven way to lose weight. Just cut your food, just do portion control, and that's it. And I was looking at her and I was like, nah, this is the voice of ignorance. And people who are not aware will go and follow this cookie cutter advice, and they will try it and injure themselves, they will wound themselves, or they will try and try and try and try and try, and it will not work. They will not be blaming themselves. Okay, so we this is the reason we are putting this together tonight. Okay, so that you know what the right thing is. So whether you're a health professional, you're a woman, you're a man, whatever, whoever, right? what is the right information, what is the right information for yourself, and so you can help us to also educate others. People are taking all sorts of things. People are taking Ozempic to lose weight. People are doing hot water massage on their tummy to lose belly fat. People are doing different things. They will tell you, come and do this exercise so that it will reduce your tummy without reducing any other place in your body. So all of this, there's a lot of confusion online. A celebrity will go and take one thing and slim down. She will now come and start marketing one tea as the secret to her slimming down, right? And they will tell you so so and so have approved, so so and so approved. How they are doing the approval, I don't know, because I cannot see some things here. But people will now go and be buying and rushing and trooping to go, and especially women, and it puts their lives at risk. Some people, in fact, don't worry, double doctor is coming. He's coming to do justice to this topic. So I don't have to do plenty explanation. He's coming. So yes, let me quickly remind us who we have here. Let me do that. Um, we sent the flyer earlier in the group chat. So let me pull that up again and introduce you to Double Doctor. Before I introduce Double Doctor, I'll tell you about him. This man is not just a doctor, he's not just a medical doctor, he is a good man. He's a good man. Honestly, see, if you want to see a doctor in and you are in Abuja, or you want to see a doctor urgently, you can also reach out virtually. He can consult with you virtually. I want to promise you that this is one doctor I have met that will sit down with you, listen to you, and actually show care and compassion. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I have personally experienced him. So um he's that good. He's that good. He's a very good doctor. I think we should make another movie, Nigerian version, the good doctor Nigerian version, and it's him that we are going to cast in the movie. So Dr. Matthew Oko is a UK trained and internationally certified obesity and weight management slash metabolic health specialist, a health content creator, a member WHO World Health Organization FIDE network of health influencers and public health researcher. Ladies and gentlemen, meet our highly esteemed, highly respected, highly honored, highly revered double doctor, Dr. Osabohien Matthew Oko. Now, this is what I would encourage us to do. Take notes, right? Take notes and ask questions. If you have any questions, drop in the comment section. Let me give you a secret. Some of the questions you can ask now. If you want to go and do consultation, you will pay dearly. You will pay dearly for consultation. So do well to ask any question, any confusion, put it in the comments in the chat box, and he is going to answer. And don't forget, even if I forget, remind me. Don't forget to follow him on all social media platforms. I'm going to send his links to our group chats, Healthy Wealthy Moms Club and Healthy Wealthy Life. If you are not in these two groups I mentioned, you should ensure that you reach out, because I know I sent this link to a lot of platforms. So if you're not in these two groups, you can reach out so that you'll be added to either of them. But he has a community that he has also opened, you know, for people to ask questions. But don't worry, that one is going to be, maybe I'll use it for the giveaway. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on stage, Double Doctor. My doc, you have the floor, sir. Okay, I can't hear your voice.
No, can you hear me now?
Beautiful. Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, okay. The mic was acting up. So until you put me in trouble with all this your big introduction one day back, you will not rest. So good evening, everyone. Um, my name is Matthew Oko, like he has introduced, and I happen to find myself in the field of metabolic health, specifically obesity management and its consequences, and decided to go this route because of the plenty, let's say, Yahoo that is out there when it comes to comes to this area of health. There's a lot that is going on, like Coach Chijoke alluded to in his opening remarks. And so let me see, let me try and put up my slide. I have something small that I would like to use as we discuss. But yeah, so like I said, I did my postgraduate training in obesity management, in the course of which I had an encounter with a bariatric surgeon. Now, so in just as we have in many areas of medicine, there are two areas. Usually, you have people who use medicine and who do surgery. So, in obesity management, we have bariatricians, which happens to be what I am, and then you have people who are called bariatric surgeons. Just where you have pediatrician and pediatric surgeon, you have neurologists and neurosurgeons. So, unfortunately, each time, even amongst my colleagues, each time we use the word pediatrician, they say pediatrician. So, I mean, I stopped and I started just um, begin to use what is it called? Just talk about obesity straight away, or metabolic medicine, so that I will stop answering plenty questions. So, but that is just by way of introducing what I mean. People who are trained to manage obesity medically are called pediatrician, and then those who do surgery, obesity-related surgery, are pediatric surgeons. So that is the the summary. So yeah, so I happen to also be certified by the World Obesity Federation. The World Obesity Federation is like the WHO when it comes to obesity management specifically. So they decide or formulate policies as far as obesity is concerned, and then they advise WHO with respect to obesity-related matters. In Nigeria, there are just 7 of us with that certification. It's a globally recognized certification that you have to attend training, and then what is it called? You write and pass 2 exams before you can be certified. So that is my small introduction. So I'm finding it hard to old school people like us. I'm trying to share my slide, and I'm not able to do so. But as I'll just be speaking as I continue to struggle with it. So my plan today is not to what is to give the holy grail.
Okay,
That is
double
not what my
doctor.
plan, as far as obesity is concerned, that is not what my plan is today. My plan is to cause you to begin to ask yourself questions with respect to the things you may have heard or seen, or that you may even have done yourself as far as obesity is concerned. Because there's a whole lot out there with respect to weight management. Everybody, like Chijoku said earlier on, everybody is an expert in weight management. And I did say that I was going to say some things that will shock you. So the truth is, so I find myself struggling with what to say, or during exam what to write, because some of the things I'm going to say will be against all what we call conventional knowledge or conventional teaching. So that is the reason I said that what I'm going to talk about will shock. Okay, let me send the slide to Koshio. So I should send the slide to him. So at least that will save me the headache of being an old school. So yeah, so some of the things that we're going to say will be things that will be surprising to some of us. Well, not plenty of them I'm going to say, because I've also do not want to find myself in very deep waters. But like I said, in the course of my training, I had an encounter with a bariatric surgeon. His name is Dr. Andrew Jenkinson. You can look him up if you want. He used to work in a University College Hospital in London. So when he told his story of how he began to question the things that the conventional teaching, he was like, the story, it also got me thinking, and then I started to do my own research, and then I found out that, well, like many other things that have happened in the healthcare sector, there's been a lot of, issues with the kind of trainings that we've had, what we have been told as far as managing obesity is concerned. So, Coach Chijok, if you are hearing me, I've sent this into you. So if you can help me put it up, so that we can start off in earnest. I don't know why I'm not able to share. Why I'm not able to share it. Okay, yeah. So after the encounter,
okay, let me put it up.
Okay, so I also started, looking into some of the things that, we have heard and seen, and then it became clear that, we need to do things different. And of course, along the way, I also, had encounter with other people who also had similar, questions. One of them, a nephrologist, who was wondering, he keeps seeing patients who he has struggled to treat, who are not getting better and better, and he continues to take medication, and nothing seemed to be working the way it should. And then it became clear that something was, definitely missing. So what is obesity? It is basically an outward manifestation, or I would call it a symptom of a dysfunctional process that is going on within an individual. It is so the accumulation of weight, which we see and we refer to as obesity, is just a sign that you have a metabolic dysfunction, for which fat is being accumulated in different parts of the body that now manifest in the form of weight gain. And unless we are able to take care of that dysfunction, we will just be running around in circles, so to speak. So the textbook definition or medical definition of obesity is, the excess accumulation of. So have you seen the slide? Hello, can you hear me, Chijoke? What's going on?
Yes, sir. I'm pulling it up. My phone went off.
Oh.
I'm pulling the slide up.
Oh, okay. I'm also still trying again. Let me see. I don't know what happened. So as I was saying, so it's defined as the excess accumulation of adipose tissue in the body, which may or may not cause um, impediments to your health. So we say it is subclinical and clinical. So subclinical is when it is not causing you any major health problem, and clinical obesity when it is manifesting with some you know some challenges. By that I mean the complications that arise with from obesity that will come, that can range from difficulty with moving around, breathlessness because of the weight that the person is carrying around, complications as far as diabetes and bone-related problems, osteoarthritis, difficult what we call sleep apnea, and all that. So, and then there are markers, or there are tests or screenings that you do to help you, that are basically used to to judge or to screen for whether somebody has obesity or not. And of course, they all have their advantages, and then they have their limitations, as it were. All of which we will, we'll get to talk about. First, I mean, the one that is commonest to everybody is the what is it called? The BMI. So, which is defined as the body mass index, just a ratio of your weight to your height in meters squared. So this is the commonest screening that is done for people, and it's about the cheapest and very easy to implement. Unfortunately, it can wrongly classify individuals. So which is what the biggest disadvantage it has is because it can classify somebody who is obese as normal, can classify somebody who does not have obesity as obese. For example, somebody may be within. Okay, I think I've seen it too. So I'm trying. I think I'm trying to share it now. And Coach okay. Okay. So can you see it now?
Yes, yes, yes. The one I was sharing was already was up was it's still processing, it's still uploading.
Okay, so finally I've been able to sort myself out.
Mm.
Okay, so we'll continue. So this I said was my objective, just to cause people to ask, to question some things that they have had and things that they do. And then this is where we are at the moment. I was defining obesity. So BMI is what I've just described. I was talking about, you can classify someone as normal when the person actually has excess. Remember, the definition of obesity is having excess adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is the medical term for fat cells, when you have excess of it in your body. Now, it is not wrong, or rather, everybody is supposed to have some measure of fat, because it also has its function in the body. And then you are allowed up to 20 up to 13% of your weight being due to fat if you're a man, and then as high as 20 as far as 24% for men and up to 31% for women. So functionally, what you need is between 2 to 5%, and then for men, and then 10 to 13% for women. Because you can have beyond that up to 24% if you are a man, and up to 31% if you're a woman. So meaning anything beyond that. So from 25%, if you have if 25% of your body weight and above is due to fat accumulation, then we'll begin to worry. And if you are above 32% for women, you now begin to worry, because the point here is not that you should not have fat at all in your body. It has its important function that it plays in your body. So, and the BMI can roughly classify you as being normal, right? When you have excess accumulation of fat. So it therefore means that you probably have more fat than you have lean body mass. So we can divide an individual into lean body mass and fat. Now, lean body mass comprises both your body water, both your bones, mineral density in your bone, your muscles, and all that. So, but if you are really have issues with your weight, such that you have excess fat, and even upon that, your BMI is still within normal, so that becomes a problem. So, but BMI will say you have a normal BMI. So you see, that is the limitation that you have with BMI, because it can tell you that you have normal BMI, but meanwhile you actually have excess fat. Two, there are people who do bodybuilding. Now, the person can have a BMI that is above so I didn't talk about the different ranges. From between 18.5 to 24.9 is considered to be the normal range of BMI. Now, anything below 18.5, they say the person is underweight. Then anything above 24.9, you say the person is from 25 and above, you say the person is overweight. And then from 30 upwards, you say the person is obese. So you may have somebody who has a BMI of 27. It's because the person is a bodybuilder and the person has plenty of muscles. We now begin to talk about the person being overweight or the person being obese, but not knowing that the person is just has the person's weight is due to muscle mass. Remember, the definition of obesity is accumulation of excess fat in the body. Can we continue?
Sorry. Continue, please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next, beyond BMI, we have the waist circumference. That is also another measure that can be used to, check where the person is. So it's a measure of the accumulation of fat around the person's abdomen. So where you hear some people have truncal obesity. So ideally, your waist circumference should not be more than 94 centimeters if you are a man, and should not be more than 80 if you are a woman. So if it goes beyond that, then of course there are, just the way you have categories for BMI, you also have categories for it. But I'll just stick to what is normal. The other challenge with this waist circumference is the fact that it is ethnicity specific. So because if, what you consider normal for us may not be normal for the Asian. In fact, for us, there's arguments right now that it even needs to go a little because the parameter the values that we use currently are the values for the Caucasians. So because there's no unique data for the African setting for now, we are still using the values that we have for the white people. And then we have the waist to hip ratio. So that is WHR is waist to hip ratio. So it's just a ratio comparing of your waist to your hip. So unfortunately, the drawback for that is the fact that your waist and your hip can proportionately grow as you are growing bigger. So, and then it will still give you a value that you think that you are normal, even when you are not normal. The ratio ideally is supposed to be less than 1. I think less than between 0.8 for women and the 0.9 for men when you divide your waist by your hip. So that is how that is measured. Then we have what we call the weight to height ratio. So this is one parameter that has been able to take care of so all the shortcomings that we have for the other parameters. You can use this for children. You can use it across different what is it called? Whether men, women, whether the person is Asian, Caucasian, black, white. So it's been standardized. It's a standardized measure, so to speak. So it's a very so you divide um, your height by your waist, and ideally the value should not be more than 0.5. So anything 0.5 and above means that okay, you need to take a second look. And then we have body fat percentage. That, of course, is the ideal. Remember, the definition of obesity is the accumulation of excess fat. So if anything that you are able to do to help you quantify how much fat you have in your body is the ideal that you should be doing. And the gold standard today is use of DEXA, dual X-ray absorptiometry scan. They call it DEXA scan for short. It's gold standard today because it has very low, it exposes the individual to the lowest amount of radiation. So otherwise, there are people who also do, you can also do CT scan, you can also do MRI. But, the clinically, the DEXA scan is considered the gold standard when you are estimating body fat composition. So that is how the different parameters that we use in defining obesity. So here we are talking about the consequences of obesity. So this screenshot on the left is actually from a classmate who is a bariatric surgeon who operates a 200-bedded hospital. He owns it in India. Actually, he's an Indian. My name is Dr. Harpreet. He's a bariatric surgeon. We're classmates in the course of our training. So he submitted this in class one day, and I liked it, and I decided to copy it. The one on the right is from I think this lady was from Sri Lanka. She runs a family medicine practice. So this we're talking about the consequences of obesity, as you can see. First, there you need to know that obesity, depending on how severe it is and the associated complication that comes with it, can shorten your life by as much as 20 years. That is how serious the implications of somebody being obese can be. And as you can see from here, you see all the different arrows pointing to different health consequences from for obesity, up to cardiovascular diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, certain types of cancer, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea. Some of these things I've mentioned before, and of course, the fact that people tend to look at people who are obese one kind, and because of the way that obesity has been presented to us, we think that people who are obese are people who are lazy, people who do not have discipline, people who just eat too much. We get to understand that that is really not the case as we move along in this discussion. And then the one on the right too. So it's also pointing to some apart from the complications of obesity, it also has arrows pointing to some things that can lead to people having obesity. I think we'll talk more about that as we move along. Now, what are the causes of obesity? Because everybody, like I said, everybody is an expert in obesity these days. You go online, you buy slimming tea, you buy all manner of diet, keto diet, high fat diet, low fat diet. What are those ones again? Paleolithic diet, what is the just everybody just selling all manner of things to lose weight everywhere. Now, I did say that my objective for this discussion is not to provide a holy grail, it's to help you to get to the point where you now begin to question the things, the information that you have around obesity and how you have approached obesity. Now, so under genetics we have two components: monogenic and polygenic. Now, monogenic obesity are those of obesity weight gain that are due to a mutation in a particular gene in an individual. And even under this monogenic, we have two types. But I'm not going to bother us about this because really, well, let's just talk about it briefly. So usually for people who have monogenic obesity, their weight gain usually will start right from when they are children. That is when you notice it, and it's often associated with the person on having insatiable quest to want to eat, because whatever it is that's going on in the body is just driving and you understand this well as we move along further. So that is what we call, but the polygenic is the one that is common to all of us. So all different kinds of genetic problems coming together to, interacting with the environment and everything around us to predispose us to, to gaining weight. And then we have biologic factors where these days now, insulin resistance has become a buzzword. Everybody is now shouting insulin resistance everywhere because everybody is now an expert. So you have in the issues related to insulin, you have hormonal factors, thyroid-related issues with your adrenal glands. So we are talking about cortisol here. We're talking about what is it called? Thyroid hormones and all other different types of hormones. We have psychological problems. People who are depressed. There are people who have mental health disorders, eating disorders, as it were. So all manner of things that could be predisposing somebody to weight gain. Then we have environmental factors, ultra-processed food that have been specifically designed to, because the thing is, food is, to eat is a pleasurable activity because it interacts with a portion of the brain. The nucleus accumbens is an area in the brain, the ventromedial hypothalamus, where that controls, that is the reward center that makes you feel good, where the release of dopamine happens from. So when you eat food, it tends to trigger that area, and then it gives you that feeling that you get. So these people who the food industries understand that science, and they have perfected the art of designing the food that they sell to be so palatable. All the things like the sugar and the consistency, the ratio of mixing the sugar and fat in such a way that is able to trigger that portion of your brain to make you want to eat more and more and more and more and more. And then we have the sedentary lifestyle, all of which come together to predispose an individual to weight gain. We have the circadian rhythm disruption. Every individual, every human being functions on a 24-hour clock. That is what we call the circadian rhythm. That is how the body functions. So in the body, at from morning to evening to throughout the night, controls how things happen, the release of sugar at certain times of the day, the control of your blood pressure when you get up early in the morning. For example, many people may not know this, but when you are lying down, your blood pressure is different. It is lower from when you are sitting down. It is lower from when you are standing up. That is because your body is adjusting the pressure required to move blood around your body in order to counter the effect of gravity on your body. So when you are getting up in the morning, the body is pushing cortisol out into your body to get you moving for the day. That cortisol stimulates the breakdown and production of glucose because you need that energy to get you going for the day. But as you begin to wind down for the day, the body also begins to shut down, and then certain other parts of the body begins to become more active. That is why when they say you should stay away from the screen for at least 1 hour before you go to bed. It is because as daylight begins to fade, actually, there's a part of your brain that is supposed to notice that okay, night is coming, and then it begins to release melatonin that will prepare you for sleep. But unfortunately, how do I put it now? The modern life now makes it hard for us to even know when it is day and when it is night. So we continue to interfere with how nature has actually, designed us to function. And then we have medications. Different medications can make you to add weight. I'm sure many even medication with many, or at least there's a popular medication that people of recent start abusing, if I can use that word, because they want to use it to gain weight. Of course, so I'm being careful not to mention any names here. And then we have some medical conditions that can predispose you to weight gain. Now, from this point, I begin to ask yourself, somebody who has excess weight, because the person, I think I didn't talk about stress and sleep. There's nothing, just know that if you do not rest adequately, sleep deprivation, can stimulate weight gain. So back to what I was trying to say. Imagine somebody who is having problem, who is hypothyroid, for example. So the thyroid gland is not functioning well, it's not producing enough hormone for the body to stimulate the body to function properly. And then that person now goes online and is doing diets, when what the person needs is just to treat the thyroid issue that is going on with the person. Or somebody is sleep deprived. The person is not aware, because we listen to motivational speakers who told us that if you sleep 8 hours in a day, you have slept off your entire life. So you do not need to sleep. Sleep for 2 hours is enough for you. And then the person is adding weight because of that. And then you are on top of that stress that the body is already going through. You are not doing diets. So just putting that out there for you to see. Now, the concept of the weight set point. Remember, earlier on I had said that there's a certain amount of fat that is required for us to have in order to live a normal life. Now, based on so that is determined by a part of the brain in the hypothalamus to determine how much weight you need to carry for you to survive. Our set point weight refers to the level of stored fat our body automatically works to maintain, regardless of the quantity of calories that we take in or we burn. So what happens is, based on the information that your body is getting from the environment and from the food that you are eating, it determines that, okay, I think we need to set the weight at 60 kg. Once that decision is made, there is nothing you can do. The body will trigger all available mechanisms to make you gain that weight. This is the reason why people talk about after dieting for a while, the diet no longer works. Because that weight that the brain has set has a buffer region that within which the weight can fluctuate. Once the weight either goes up or comes down beyond that point, the body automatically activates those mechanisms that will make you to put that weight back. There's nothing that you can do. So that is the concept of the set point. So it functions like a thermostat. For those who understand, but in places where you have, just like setting your AC in your house to say that, okay, Once the temperature in my house gets to so temperature, please, the AC should come on. And once it gets above, so if it's low, if the temperature becomes too hot, okay, you switch on the AC so that the place becomes cool. If it becomes too cold, you switch it off so that it becomes hot. That is how the set point functions. But it has a buffer region within which you cannot you can play around with. But once it gets to that point that it has set, you will not, and you can do. So that's why for some of the people who see my video, sometimes when sometimes I've talked about this, I say that you need to work with your body, because you can never win a tug of war with your body, because the body is very well adapted, very well equipped to win any war that you want to wage with it. It has all the mechanism available to it. So it will, you will not be able to compete with it. So let me just finish reading what I have here. Our set point explains why it is so hard to keep fat off through traditional diet and exercise techniques. So I think I've talked about that, because once you hit that point, there is nothing. The only thing you can do is to work with your body to reduce, change the body is getting, and reduce the set point. Once you reduce the set point, the weight comes off on its own, whether irrespective of what you do. Hopefully we'll talk more about that. So, and this is just to say that the body is an efficient homeostatic machine. Homeostasis is the medical terminology to say that to maintain equilibrium. That's essentially what it means. The body, just like I was said earlier about adjusting your blood pressure when you're lying down to be lower than when you're sitting down, to be lower than when you're standing up. So depending on the environmental condition, your body adjusts to meet to make sure that the body continues to survive depending on what the environmental circumstance is. That is why when the weather is hot, you sweat more. That sweating is your body trying to maintain your internal temperature. That is what it is doing. And when the weather is hot, you drink more water. But when the weather is cold, you do not sweat. You go to wee more when the weather is cold, and you do not drink water as much as when the weather is hot. So that is what homeostasis is. The body is trying to maintain the internal environment as it's supposed to be. That is why in some places, like if you go places where the atmospheric oxygen is not as high, what would the body do? The body produces more red blood cells so that it can capture more oxygen. So if you compare me now and somebody from Kenya, the person will definitely have more red blood cells than I have. That is the reason why they are able to do well in long distance race. One of the reasons. Because of that acclimatic adaptation that they have. So it's just for us to understand that the body is well adapted for survival. It will do anything that it can, to survive in any environment where you put it, by adapting, by changing how it responds. So which is why the issue of calorie in and calorie out is a yahoo, because the body will adapt no matter what you do. I'm sure, many people would have tried all manner of diet, like I said earlier, and you get to a point you get stuck. So it also explains why obese people do not keep getting heavier and heavier until they explode, because it has set the weight somewhere. Once you get to that point, it will stop. That's why some people are able to maintain their weight, because they are not giving their body the information that requires the body to change the set point. So you see that they maintain a particular weight. The body, we've seen people who say, so this person will eat 10 bowls of food, but the person is not getting fat. The person is not going to get fat because the body has set the weight at some point. No matter what the person eats, the body will burn off that excess calorie that the person has taken, because it is adapting to maintain the set point where the weight must not go beyond. So next slide. So our digestive system, muscles, and fat tissue are constantly communicating with our nervous system and brain via hormones. They are talking about how much fuel they think we need to keep us at our set point. If they think we are at risk of rising above our set point, they will decrease our calories in and increase our calories out, and vice versa. This is just an explanation of all the things that I've been trying to say, how the body works. So, but let me talking about the people who do weight loss. Let me just ask us a question. I mean, the general training, what they teach us is that for someone to lose weight, you need to design your diet so that the person is losing, so that the diet is less by 500 calories, so that in a week the person will lose half a kilogram. Then in a month the person will lose 2 kg. If that were actually true, does it mean, let us assume that in a month the person is going to lose 2 kg? Let us assume that the person is 100 kg. Does it mean that after 50 months the person will become 0 kg? I mean, ask yourself that question. Why do we not get to that point? So how does the body make sure that this happens? So this is the energy balance of the body. This is how the energy that the person spends every day is divided. Now, this energy balance is the total amount of energy that an individual will spend in a day. Now, the biggest component of that is this part that says 70%, where you see basal metabolic rate or resting metabolic rate. Now, it is not up because there are two different things. Basal metabolic rate is different from your resting metabolic rate, but oftentimes you see it in books, they use it interchangeably. But what we typically measure, the only way you can measure basal metabolic rate is in a lab. That is the only way you can do it, because you need to control the temperature of the room where you are. So talking about resting metabolic rate, that is the amount of energy that you need you're not doing anything. You're just lying down or you're just sitting down. The energy that is required for your body, for your heart to pump, for you to form poo-poo, and for you to breathe in and breathe out, all those energy that is required for your blood to move around your body. That is what that resting metabolic rate is. You are not doing anything. Then the NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So walking from your house to your car, doing cleaning your house, all those things that you do on normal day, those are the activities that are classified under non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You can see that constitutes only 15% of the total energy that you spend in a day. Then TEF is thermic effect of food, the amount of energy that you burn when you are digesting the food that you have eaten. And then you have exercise thermogenesis. You can see that is even the smallest, 5% of the energy that you spend every day. Now, this whole issue, this calorie in and calorie out matter that we're talking about is based on a misunderstanding of this whole thing, this pie chart that you're looking at. So because the human body, like I always say, is a living organism that is capable of adapting to its environment. It is not a piece of metal, because this whole calorie in and calorie out is adapted from the law of thermodynamics that says that energy can neither be destroyed nor be created. It can only be changed from one form to the other. So they just assume that, okay, once you eat all the calorie in the food, if you do not expend it, then you get fat. It does not work like that. Because what the body will do, once you begin to interfere with that set point of the weight that it has determined based on the information that it has gathered, it will automatically interfere, or it will automatically. So let me put it this way. The human body, I said it's a homeostatic machine. Now it is controlled by neurohumoral feedback. That is your nervous system and the hormones in your body. That is what controls the human body. Everything that is operating in your body is based on the nerves carrying information from one place to the other, or your hormones carrying information, messages from one place to the other. So once that begins to happen, what the body will do will be to cause the amount of energy that it is expending to fall down. That is when I'm sure you have heard people talk about starvation mode. This is what this is a misunderstanding of how this function that leads to that concept of the starvation mode. What will happen is that your body will reduce how much energy it is burning, and there's a reason why it will do that. Hopefully we'll get to that point. There's a reason why it will do that. So I've talked about the set point. So the food that you eat, I said it 3 times. It is not all about calories. It also carries information to your body. And that information is ultimately what determines what the body will do with the food that you have eaten. That is the one part that people do not talk about when they talk about this calorie in and calorie out and this diet that they talk about. The food is not just food, it's not just calories. It carries information which your body interprets. And the signal is sent via the vagus. The vagus nerve is the neuronal pathway that the body, that your gastrointestinal system, your GIT, or what they call your gut, communicates with the brain. And then we have more than 10 different hormones, plenty, from your GLP-1, which is ready now that we are buying medication up and down. Your GLP-1, your cholecystokinin, your peptide YY, what is it called, leptin, ghrelin, which is the one that controls hunger. So many different hormones that that operates within the confine of dealing with the food that you have, how your body deals with the food that you have eaten. So apart from your body reducing your resting metabolic, and once your body reduces, because like I said, the body is adapted to survive. Once you reduce your calorie and it is not getting enough energy to carry out the function that it is supposed to do, what it will do will be to reduce the amount of energy that you are expending. And once this energy is reduced, all these other ones too will follow suit. Sorry, please, let me take this. Let me take this call. Sorry. Hello? I'm in a meeting. Sorry, please. So once your resting metabolic rate falls down, it is going, all these other things too will all reduce. One of the reasons that they say you should not eat late, apart from the fact that your body is preparing to sleep. Your body is already preparing to sleep. So your amount of energy that you are going to be expending is also going to reduce, because your body is preparing to go to sleep. So in addition to reducing so 2 things here as it relates to the set points. I did talk about people eating and they're not getting fat. This is where it also comes from. When the person's weight is already at the set point, any excess calorie that the person eats will be burnt off. What the body will need to do just to increase your energy expenditure, and you will burn that calorie away. That is what happens. And then the second thing that the body will do is to cause you to become hungry. So I'm sure people, if there's any person who have done dieting before, who got to the point where the diet wasn't working again, you understand what I'm talking about. It will stimulate from the neuropeptide YY from the brain, and your ghrelin will do you shaky, because you will be so hungry that you will not know. That's why I said losing weight on diet is like finding yourself between between the devil and the deep blue sea. That's why at some point it will work up to a point, because remember, there's a buffer region where you can push the weight. And then after that, the body begins to fight back. What you need to do, so long as the set point has not been adjusted, you are in a tug of war and you will not win that war. So this is, so if you can see, if this is very clear, I hope it is, you will see this blue line here. It is labeled the set point. And you will see here, it says anti-obesity medication. So those arrows coming down is showing you that the medications are trying to push the set point down. But you also have all these things that cause people to add weight as they are pushing the set point, they're pushing it up. So that, if you recall, I said that unless you cause the set point to come down, you will not be able to lose weight successfully. And which is why people on those medications, you see that it works very well. But after a while, it will also stop because there's get to a point where the body will say, no way. Because what you are doing here, you are forcing it down. You are not working with it to bring it down by itself. So long as it is not bringing it down itself, it will always get to a point where it will tell you, no way. And then you see that you will now say the medication will stop working, and then the people will begin to add the weight back again. Just the same thing as people who are doing dieting. Now, with what I've said so far, does anybody here really think that people have control over what they eat or how they eat? Now, having understood how the body responds to the information that is coming into the body, do you think people who are obese is because they lack willpower? Do you think it is because they are lazy? So these are food for thought. Now, this is what we have all been told. So I titled it, is this weight loss 101 or is it the greatest deception? Eat less and move more. From what we have described so far, because this eat less and move more is based off this calories in and calories out, which we have seen that the body will definitely resist. Now, eat everything in moderation. You remember I had talked about how food is very well designed and packaged by food companies to stimulate that part of your brain that gives you dopamine release. So it means some food are addictive. People can become addicted to food. I'm sure that you would have heard people who say they have sweet tooth. No, they're just saying that they are addicted to those things that they are referring to. But they are not. But they do not know that they are addicted. So telling those kind of people to eat everything in moderation is like telling somebody who is an alcoholic, who is addicted to alcohol, to drink alcohol in moderation or to smoke in moderation. So a calorie is a calorie. That is what we hear people say. And that is what they talk. That's what they talk about calorie in, calorie out. Now if you are looking at this picture that you are seeing here now. This is my amateur creation from using ChatGPT. This is a donut. It has 500 calories. This is a bowl or a plate of beef with 500 calories. This is also vegetable with 500 calories. Now, beyond the calories, what information do you think these different kinds of food will elicit or will give to the body? So this question I will answer. We'll talk about them in the next slide. Just if we need to go back and forth, we'll go back and forth. Now, so how much do the calories we are eating stretch our digestive organs? Now, remember, your stomach will need to stretch for the vagus nerve to carry the information back to the brain to say, I think the stomach is full. We need to stop eating. The body will now initiate the process of producing those hormones that will cause you to stop eating. That will let you know that you are free, which is one reason we say people should eat very slowly, because it takes up to 20 minutes before your brain will recognize that you are full. So because it will take a while for the information to travel to your brain, for that the stretch receptors to pick on and it will get to your brain and tell you that you are full. So compare the size of this. I hope I got the size them correctly. The size of this donut to the size of meat to the size of vegetable that you have here. And they're all 500 calories. And remember, they say a calorie is a calorie. But the information I tell you here now that a calorie is not a calorie because the food that is carrying that calorie, in addition to the calorie, provides some information to the body that determines how the body responds. And it is this information that gets to the body, that helps the body to determine where to put the set points. How much do the calories we are eating affect short-term satiety hormones? So these are the GLP-1. The GLP, we actually have different GLPs. So the GLP-1 is very common now because that is the one that science has not been able to find out how it works and what its functions are. We also have a GLP-2 for which we do not know how it functions very well. So nobody is talking about it for now. We have CCK or the cholecystokinin, and then we have peptide YY. They are all stimulated differently by different food components. So because the foods containing healthy fat and protein tend to stimulate these hormones stronger than other types of food. Your refined food will not even cause any stimulation, which is the reason you find they are hardly satiating. Like before you know it, you are hungry again. So apart from stimulating short-term hormones, what are the long-term hormones? Like leptin, for example. So because leptin is the hormone that is released by the fat cells that tells your brain that, look, we have enough energy store. Because the food that you eat, once your body pulls the nutrients or the sugar away from your body, either converts it use it for the immediate energy need, converts the rest to either glycogen for storage, or if the glycogen store is full, converts it to fat. So once you have adequate fat stores, it still produces the leptin, the hormone called leptin, which goes to the brain and tells the brain that, look, we have enough store, we need to stop eating. And then all the mechanisms that will tell you to stop eating will not be put into motion, and then you will not longer want to eat. I will ask this question: how many people you have eaten to the point that you are stuffed, you are not able to eat food again, but you are able to eat cake, you are able to take a dessert, that is either ice cream or something? Think about that. And then when we now come to weight loss, it takes time for this set point to be arrived at, because the body gathers data for over a long period of time and then sets the set point, determines the set point and put it there. So which is why you see it takes people add weight. Once that is done, you now begin to add weight gradually and gradually and gradually. So people add weight over years. But when it now comes to weight loss, people want to lose the weight in 20 days or in 10 days or in 1 week, which is the reason people continue to fall for all manner of, I don't know whether scam is the right word to use, or manipulation. You want to, in 3 months or in 1 month or in 1 week, you want to do away with what took you 3 years to accumulate. You need to think about that. Now to the cocoa. So remember, I had said the only way to successfully do this is to work with your body. And how to work with your body is to change the information that you're providing to the body, such that over time the set point will not be reduced, and then the weight will come off on its own without you struggling. Once you are able to lower the set points, the rest will just follow. But it does not mean that to lower the set point is a walk in the park. Now, so because once you lower the set point, the regulatory hormone, it will now, based on the regulatory hormones, now begin to work in the field. It now set up a cascade of events that will work towards weight loss. And of course, if you recall, I had also talked about the causes of obesity. So there are secondary causes, like somebody who is having thyroid-related thyroid function problem, somebody who has adrenal gland issues, somebody who has excess cortisol, somebody who has eating disorder, or somebody who is depressed and is taking the medication that is making them to cause. So you need to sort all that out. You need to deal with that before you now begin to now decide what you want to do next. So, like I said, my objective here is to cause you to ask yourself these questions. Instead of just going off the internet to go and buy subscribe to one manner of diet or the other, subscribe to one exercise routine or the other, you need to, ask yourself these questions. And then your answer to yourself will now tell you what you need to do next. Now, I want to talk about this just so to help us understand how certain things function. Now, the food that you remember, I had said that the food beyond the calorie also provides information to the body that the body functions with. When you eat food, particularly refined carbohydrates or other carbohydrate food, the food comes into your body in the form of calories. So this open fridge here is representing your body. And then all those things inside the open fridge. I hope you can see what I'm pointing at. Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, I've been talking to myself. Hello, can any person hear me?
Oh, yes, yes, I can hear you. I was saying yes, yes. I didn't know that I didn't bring myself up on stage, so I can hear you.
Okay, so I wanted to be sure that you can see what I'm pointing at.
Yes, yes, we can. I can see the screen. I can see your slide.
Okay. Okay, so let me go back to, let me look for it. Okay, so this body, this fridge is representing the body. So the food comes in as the calorie, and then it is supposed to go out. This is the so-called calorie in and calorie out. Now, the other box, there are two other boxes next to the fridge. One is labeled glycogen, one is labeled body fat, and they are both padlocked. Now, the reason they are padlocked, you see, is because insulin is high. That is why it is locked. So, if you go to the second one, this one that I'm pointing here now, you can see the fridge is now almost empty. But the glycogen and the body fat stores are still locked. The reason being that the insulin is still on the high side. So, because once the hormone insulin is high, every other thing is shut down. Because the only thing that the body wants to do at that time is to collect and store. You cannot access it, you cannot use it to do anything. So that is the reason for those who are doing dieting, because the insulin, the hormonal issue, in this instance, insulin has not been taken care of. Once the food does not meet the energy requirements for the body, and because the body cannot access these stores, the glycogen store and the fat store, there is a problem. So the person will become very, very hungry because the body will want the person to eat. The person will continue to eat because you cannot access the body's the stored energy. So in this slide now, you can see here the insulin level is low at this point. So as the body is running out of energy, you can see that the glycogen store is open. So you can now collect glycogen and convert it to glucose, which the body can use when the body is running out of fuel or energy as it were. And in this final one here, you can see that the glycogen storage has become empty. Because insulin is still low, the fat store is now open. So the person can now begin to access the fat store and then use fat as a source of energy. And then you continue to burn. So it is only when you are able to access the fat store that you can successfully be able to reduce your weight. And you will not be able to do that unless you are able to bring down your set points. And to do that, you need to begin to bring down the level of insulin that you have circulating in your body. So I guess this is the last slide. So this is our contact. It's Dr. MH. MH stands for Metabolic Health. So across all social media platforms, that is our handle. And then you can join our community that Chijoke talked about with this link, or you can just scan this barcode. So with this, I've come to the end of my long story. So at least I think I've kept to the 1 hour that I promised that I was going to use. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Double Doctor. Thank you so much. I mean, this was amazing. This is like a full lecture that would have been, I mean, taking like 5-6 sessions in one brief session, and yet you broke it down. You broke it down really, really, really well. Thank you so much, Double Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Matthew. I don't know if people can hear me very well. So yes, it's question time. It's question time. I don't know if you have some minutes to take questions, then we can welcome questions
Why
from the
not?
audience.
Why not?
Okay, good. So you're here and you have questions concerning weight loss and weight gain. So why have you been, I've been doing this and doing that, I've been doing everything that my coach told me to do, and I've not been losing weight, or I've been doing everything that he told me that I should do to gain weight, and I've not been gaining weight. Double Doctor, there's this pressure, especially among women, um, that when you are slim, you want to gain weight. When you are slim, you want to gain weight. You are doing everything possible to gain weight, and you just feel like you have to. And then when you now have the weight, you now see a lot of them who have been able to, let me say, they are horizontally blessed, and the pressure is on them again to lose it. And then you also see another interesting category. You are looking at this person. They are not looking bad at all. Like, they are not looking bad at all. They are not looking like there's too much weight or something like that. But because someone has told them, make your weight 70 kg, try and get to 70 kg, without considering anything else, without considering bone density, without considering anything, genetics, nothing. They just say, just try and get back to 70 kg. After my delivery, my own, you see women come online and they are advising other women. Well, after my own delivery, I was weighing, so and so kg. But this is how I went down to 60 kg. And you too can do it.
target 60 kg. So like there's always this pressure, there's almost no in between. So it's either you're under pressure to lose weight or you're under pressure to gain weight. Some people they tell them, oh, increase your what is it called? Protein intake, increase whatever, eat this, eat that. So what's the right approach to me? I'm now asking my own question. What is the right approach to weight gain the healthy way? Like for somebody who wants to gain weight, what's the right approach?
Now, the thing is, there's what we call an ideal weight. Yeah, so like I said, there are, I mean, what I call it now? So is this social? This peer pressure thing is everywhere, and I have my own fair share of it. Everybody has an idea of how somebody should look. Unfortunately, that is our lot in Nigeria. Um, there's what we call an ideal weight. I think the first thing that people want to do is your weight within what it should be. Um, the simple formula is your for a man 50 for from 5 feet. So for every 1 inch that you are above 5 feet, you add 2.3 kg to 50 kg. That is the simplest formula for your ideal weight. Then for women, it is 45.5 kg that you need to add. You need to add 2.3 kg to 45.5 kg for every 1 inch above 5 feet. Now, if you want to add weight, the question is, where are you lacking? Do you need to add more fat cells? Do you want to add muscle? These are the two questions that you need to ask because what you need to do for each one is different. And how you are going to go about them is also different. So because naturally, you did mention bone density. Naturally, your body will adapt to um, to support whatever weight that you are carrying. So that is how the body, like you said, the body, tries as much as possible to to adapt. It is very well um, adapted for survival. So it will do whatever it needs to do to maintain status quo. So if you notice that you're adding weight, definitely the bone, the weight itself on the bone will cause the bone, um to develop the strength it requires to support the weight that is now like it's meant to carry, which is one paradox with people who have people who have obesity. So, but in a nutshell, the first thing the person wants to do is to determine if it is fat that you need to add or if it is muscle that you need to add. And so, if you need to add muscle, and then if you are adding muscle, then you know that you need to deal with your protein intake. And people talk about high protein. If you do not eat high quality protein, you are not going to grow weight. That is one. Number two, if you are eating protein that does not provide you with with the amino acid leucine, you will never build weight because leucine is is the catalyst that initiate the process of muscle protein synthesis. So people are just out there. They just spill out whatever. They just hear something somewhere and then they're everywhere, shouting about it without understanding the mechanics behind those things that they are talking about. So that's basically how I'm going to respond to that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let me take questions from the audience. So someone said, is it normal to eat healthy and not gain weight?
Is it normal to what?
To eat healthy and not gain weight.
So like I said, once your body has determined your set point and you you are not doing anything to affect that set point. The body will automatically adjust. If you are eating healthy, I imagine that somebody say we're talking about eating healthy means you are not eating junk food. So that means there's no new information that is coming in that is causing your body to want to adjust the set point. So once that is maintained, any excess that you have in terms of calorie, the body will burn it off. There's 1,001 thing that the body can do with extra energy. The body will expend it without you even knowing. It is when you begin to interfere with the information that is coming to the body, where the body is now beginning, you are now beginning to interfere with the neurohormonal communication that is going on in the body. Then the body will now begin to store fats for you. Anything outside of that, you are unlikely to do that. To adjust the way the body will resist you reducing your weight after a certain point. That is the way it will resist adding weight after a certain point. It will that set point that has been determined. It will do everything possible to keep it. If it means reducing your appetite so that you are not eating too much, it will reduce it. If it means increasing the amount of energy that you are burning, increasing your metabolic rate, it will increase it in order for you to burn the fat. That is how it does.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So yes, what do you have to say about weight loss tea? There's one influencer that came out one time and started selling slimming tea. How she took slimming tea and she became
Before you
slim.
finish that question, let me answer you this way.
Okay.
There was somebody that trended online not long ago, a lady
Mm.
who was complaining that somebody secretly took a picture in a gym and posted it online. This same lady, I'm sure you saw the post of this lady advertising slimming and saying that she got slim by using that thing. But meanwhile, she was not. Somebody took a picture where she was. So we should stop misleading people and start deceiving people. The weight loss tea, many of those ones that have the semblance of doing anything are packed with laxatives that cause you to lose body water. Once you lose body water, you're definitely going to lose weight. And they make you begin to think that it is working. It is not working anything. There is no magic formula that will make, I'm saying it here and now. There is no magic formula that will make you. So what those things do is they are, like I said, they are packed with anorexics and laxatives that will cause you not to eat and then make you to lose water excessively. Do those two things together will cause you to lose weight. Even if you see, don't take any slimming tea. Don't take any slimming tea. Just do not eat for 4 hours and see how many kg you are going to lose. Because your body stores glycogen, and with every unit of glycogen that you store is supported with 3 units of water. And it takes anywhere between 18 and 24 hours for you to burn your glycogen store. Your liver can only take around 100 grams of glycogen. Your muscles can take up to 400, 500 grams. Now calculate how much water. Now for each of those ones, for each gram you multiply by 4. That's how much water your body is storing, using to support it. So by the time you burn through that and lose that water, how many kg would you have lost? Which is why when you go back to eating again, you see all those weights will quickly come back.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's my answer.
Okay. Now there are a lot of women. People will say I'm dissing women this night, but there are a lot of women. This is from my experience, and I noticed that a lot of these men. There's one popular question, like among even pregnant women. So a woman is pregnant. She's in her second trimester, and then she meets him maybe in an antenatal class or somewhere, because sometimes I just start up conversations. I see a pregnant woman and I'll start up a conversation with her and all. And then the pregnant woman is already asking me, coach, tell me what I should drink or do. What kind of exercise will I do to give me my pre-pregnancy body? To give me, to burn belly fat. This my listen when I give birth the other time. My belly fat, my belly this, my belly that. So they are looking for exercises they can do to help them burn belly fat. And to be honest, no matter how you want to explain to this person that calm down and give birth first and ensure that you are safe. They know they get wetin they talk of. All those your grammar, concern them. It's not their business. They surely want to know what will I do to burn belly fat. So, what do you have to say to those people?
Well, this one is it's conventional knowledge. Weight loss is contraindicated in children who are still growing and pregnant women. So I don't. It is in the pregnant woman, weight loss is an absolute contraindication. So any person that is talking about, I don't know where the person is attending antenatal, that the person does not know. Again, maybe it's all this peer pressure thing. Because a woman who is pregnant should be focused on how to carry enough, how to build enough weight that will successfully support pregnancy to term. That should be the only thing on her mind. And then up until she has weaned her child from breastfeeding, then you can start to talk about weight loss.
Okay. Up until weaning. Amazing.
Yeah, because you're still breastfeeding, and then you need adequate nutrition for you to form proper breast milk, and then for the breast milk to also be rich enough for the baby.
Yes. Okay.
People keep talking about exercise. Look at the pie chart that I shared. It contributes just 5% of the amount of energy the calorie that you burn every day, or the energy you burn every day. You cannot. I'm saying it again. You cannot, on the basis of exercise alone, say you want to lose weight. It will not. It will never happen. So any person that they should know that. It will never happen.
Okay. So someone asked, for someone who wants to add weight, is it normal to eat? Okay, no. I've asked the question already. So someone asked, for what can you say about sleeve gastrectomy as regards to weight loss?
So sleeve gastrectomy is one of the bariatric surgery procedures. There are different kinds that can be done. Sleeve gastrectomy is one of the, let's say, successful type of surgery, right? The biggest one is Roux-en-Y, which is one they call the bypass. But the problem is that they all have their different complications. But sleeve gastrectomy seems to have a lower complication rate than Roux-en-Y, and it's a little more popular. But generally, people are generally moving away from them now. I do not know exactly why, but again, we know that people um, there are plenty complications. There are plenty rules that you will need to keep, what to eat and what not to eat. Um, and then the fact that weight regain is also happens. As much as 50% of people who do uh, pediatric surgery also gain, not like people who do other things, but they do gain back some weight that they have lost. So sleep gastrostomy, yes, if you have a surgeon who you trust who is able to do it, I mean, it's something that people do. It's one of the common or one of the popular forms of bariatric surgery. There are people who do gastric banding, there are people who do gastric balloon, do raw and wide. There are people who do some form of anastomosis where you just bypass the stomach almost completely. Some bypass some part of the small intestine as well. So we are just call that one SATI. So, but you know, let's not
Mm.
talk about all those. But if you can, ideally, work with your body, lower your set point, and the way to come off. It's just that for people who are looking for a quick reduction, that for this gastric bypass, like usually for some people who want to do who have a morbid condition, I mean, very serious complications from the weight that they have, and they need to quickly consider their weight in order to reduce the risk of the condition where they are currently. Then you can do even at that. You are often there is always depending on how big the person is. You also need to reduce some amount of weight before you can even do the surgery.
Mm.
Especially because you want to reduce the size of the liver, because you need some manipulation of the liver for you to get to the stomach as you are doing the surgery. So you all need to undergo some form of weight reduction. Be placed on a certain kind of diet so that the liver can be flexible enough for you to manipulate in the process of the surgery.
Mm. Okay. Someone asked, um, for someone who wants to add weight, is it normal to eat healthy and not gain weight? For someone who intends to add weight.
Okay. So that is why I keep saying that you need to work with your body. So first of all, we need to determine, if you recall, because there was a similar question before that I had answered. The first
Mm.
question you want to answer is, do you want to add fat or do you want to add muscle? So that means you will need to have a body composition analysis. So if you want to add uh, body fat, then you now need to work on moving the set point up. If it is muscle that you now want to grow, so of course you know what you now need to do now. Means in the course, of course you cannot grow muscle without having protein to support the growth. Now, having enough protein is one thing, because you now need the protein for the normal daily activity, and then plus some extra that will be used for the weight, for the muscle growth process. In addition to that, you now need to make sure that you have the leucine that is required to initiate that process of muscle growth. And then you now need the stimulus, because you need the muscle will need to be put under some kind of mechanical tension to stimulate the growth. So it's not just about eating. You need to understand what you want to do, whether you're growing fat or you're growing muscle, and then you now need to look at what is the mechanism that will cause fat to grow or that will cause muscle to grow, like I just described. So I hope it makes sense. Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was wondering why everyone was quiet.
Oh, I was talking since, so I did not know I was. I did not know I muted myself. I was talking and asking questions.
Okay.
So somebody was asking, um, um, what. So what are the right things to do for someone who wants to lose weight? I know you've answered it in the course of your presentation. Maybe the person came
Yeah,
late or
that was
something.
why I put my head down. The person came late.
Sir?
So sitting down here, now so maybe the person didn't join on time.
Yes, yes.
So as I'm sitting down here now, you see that it's just like when we come online, people used to dishing out a prescription to people online, making diagnosis online.
Mm-hmm.
They are just putting people at risk because as I'm sitting down here now, based like you have just said now, Chijoke, based on what
Mm-hmm.
I have presented, and I did say from the beginning that I did not come. My intention is not to provide a holy grail; it's to help people to begin to
Exactly.
ask questions
Exactly.
what they have been doing. So to tell you here what the writing is would be me trying to form what I am not, because
Mm-hmm.
I do not know what is the pathophysiology behind your weight at the moment. So we need
Mm-hmm.
to sit, or rather, you need to meet with someone who will discuss with you, who will now make sure that one, there are no issues anywhere, no underlying pathology that is responsible
Hmm.
for the weight gain.
Yes,
Because if there is pathology that you need to address.
that's right.
Then, if it is a question, if it is a question of a higher set point, then you will not need to deal with the higher set points. Now, again, all these other things that I've talked about, even the pathologies, they all contribute to creating a higher set point because they all provide
Mm-hmm.
information that makes the body to decide that okay, we need to set the weight at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if everything is, let's assume that everything is fine, the person is just a problem of poor. Again, it can't just be because one, what is the person's sleep hygiene? Is the person getting enough sleep? Is there any medication that the person is taking? What apart from sleep? What is there anything in the person's life that is stressing the person?
Mm-hmm.
So all just those things that I listed up, you need to go through all of them one by one, and rule everything out before you can determine what will be the proper course of action.
Hmm.
Now, having done that, you now need to check. Okay, where is this person? Does this person have insulin resistance? Is this person having a problem with cortisol level? What is going on with how the person is responding to thyroid hormones? So we will not just because ultimately the reason the person is adding excess weight must be due to one of these things. So, and unless you find that out, you cannot determine what is the correct thing to do.
That's right.
But generally, but again, people talk about insulin resistance. Insulin resistance does just not happen in isolation. There will be something that is driving it. So if it is basically the kind of diet that the person is eating, then what you need to do is to work on the diet. But it is not working on the diet with respect to calorie in and calorie out. It's a different approach entirely. I don't know if that is clear enough. Hello?
Okay, yes, I said very clear. Very clear. So for the person who is asking, you can get his number. You can reach out to him directly. You can reach out to him. You can join the community or request from me. I'll send you his contact. If you're already in the community, I'll drop his contact. I'll tag him on the group. So if you have questions, if you want to consult with him, you want to be guided on the right way to do this. And remember, when we started this conversation, I said a lot of things. Being a physiotherapist myself, I have seen people who attempted weight loss and it ended up in a metabolic crisis. Very interesting cases. And by the time it happened, everybody was thrown into confusion you know. And a lot of times, oh, this person has gone to go and do one program that they copied online or join one master class with one coach like that. And then they went and did something that was generic. And that's why it's dangerous. People come to me as well and they ask me for weight loss advice. I tell them, you never reach, and I don't, before. I used to find it easy. This whole calorie in, I did some courses then that was introducing me to the concept of calorie in, calorie out, blah 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 blah. I didn't know it was outdated, but I did another training. I think that was last year, and last ending of last 2 years, I did another training. One of our senior colleagues who has experience with all of this metabolic stuff, and I was so amazed. I was like, no, no, I would rather not even dabble into this. I would rather not. So it's better I refer to the people that have strong head to go and be learning all of these things. Now, it is easy. Why this is important that you see an expert who knows his stuff is so that you don't end up like one lady that I saw, so that you don't end up crashing your system in the name of weight loss. You need to know your body before you want to go and attempt 1 meal a day. You need to know the kind of work you are doing for you to be doing cutting, what is it called? Cutting plate and cutting whatever, restricting your diet, restrictive diet. You need to know what your body needs exactly per time so that you don't follow generic advice and put yourself in trouble. Some people, from what I have come to learn, some people who are trying to cut carbs should actually be eating more. Who are trying to cut their diet, should be eating more because of work demands. So somebody is going to work, and this person's work demands a lot of energy, demands a lot of. But because he wants to lose tummy, she wants to lose belly fat. She's now starving herself. Next thing, the person will faint and hit head somewhere, and stories will now start entering it. People don't know this part, and then they will not share that part. Somebody who goes to take laxative or Zempic and the rest of them will not tell people when they have crisis. They won't come out and post it when they are having crisis, when they are about to die. They will not come out and post it. They don't even have the strength to. But then it's now the ones that have suffered and suffer and suffer. They will now lose weight. They will come out online and be looking sick, and then they will start selling slimming tea. It doesn't make any sense. So please and please ensure that you consult the right professional, and Dr. Matthew is definitely available for you. Okay, if you know somebody who is dealing with some of these things, because again, a lot of it is beyond what meets the eye, beyond generic advice. So just reach out to him. Send me a message anytime. I'll send you his contact. If you're in the community, he's also there, so you can always reach out anytime. And if you're in Abuja, you can reach out as well. You can reach out to him and find your way to the clinic, whatever option that you want. So, double doctor, I know you may
So,
want to.
look,
Mhm.
what?
I know you may want to
Okay,
add
so
something.
okay. No, so first, I just scrolled back to this certification part that I was talking about. So that you can go online and check. You can see it. It is written there. Scope certification is conferred by the World Obesity Federation and is the internationally recognized standard of excellence in obesity management. The official list of worldwide scope certified health professionals can be viewed here. So there's a reason they put it there. It's online. Anybody can go and check and verify. Like I said earlier, there are just 7 of us in the whole of Nigeria. Look, this is my name here. You can see. you need to defend the certification every year with 2 exams. So I mean, you can, and is any person can go. You can go online and then you can verify. So this is a professional, certification apart from the normal training in school. Just wanted to put it there. And nothing with respect to if I want to add any other thing. I think you have said everything. You have said all. There's a lot of advice out there, and there's, like I said, I'm sure there'll be a few things that probably may have said and that people may not have heard before. Let me say one more. I know I just remembered it now because you mentioned something about carbs. Do you know that actually people can live a normal life without eating carbohydrates? I'm sure it's going to shock you. But however, am I saying that people should not eat carbohydrates? No, because there are tribes that their food is like 85% carbohydrate and they are living well without obesity. The problem that we have is the highly processed and refined food that we are consuming these days. So I just wanted that your mention of carbs just reminded me of that, and unfortunately, even the authorities know this. Check the dietary reference intake guidance from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You will see it. It is clearly written there, even though it's written in small print, so that people will not see it. That you can actually do on zero. You can actually live on zero carbohydrates.
Wow.
Having said that, yes, look for the document and read it. I think it's on page 275 of the 275 of the 2005 episode, or that is 2005 edition of the document. Even though they say that your carbohydrate should be 55%, or carbohydrate should be 55% of your daily calorie intake, you can actually do zero if you want to. But that is not to say you should, so long provided it is unrefined, natural products, right? That has not been refined in any way. People that there are tribes that do very well on it, basically carbohydrate food, and they do not have any problems. Yeah, I am available for any person that that wants to reach out. For me, just when you see people give generic. Imagine somebody coming out to giving you a diet online. On what basis has the person prepared that diet? And it's the same thing they do for everybody. You see people counting calories. You do not need to count calorie for a fact. You do not need to count calorie for you to go. The only thing I only mentioned one condition. Provide the information that is required for your body to reduce the set points. You do not need to count calories. So, but I think that is, what I want to add for now. The only thing that I've posted there is my social media handle to follow, so you can see or join the community where you can get regular information. When I do my content, I post, because my content is basically weight related. That is my area of specialty. That is what I do every day. So that is what I do content on. So I think that is that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Double Doctor.
Well, sir.
I'll share the link to us now. I'll share the link with us with in the chat room, and I'll also share it in the video so that people can start joining. So do well to, if you are here, do well to join. Show special appreciation. I saw a lot of comments, in the comments section. I think I even had to screenshot one of them. You're all welcome till we see again, till we have this kind of session again. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining. So you have the right knowledge now. You can become apostles, knowledge apostles. Go to your friends, your sisters, your aunties, your uncles, who are looking for what to do to gain weight and to lose weight, and tell them that you have attended this presentation, and the facilitator is UK certified metabolic health expert, and he has told you you are speaking with this authority. you
Ah,
know,
yes.
tell them, yes, tell them. So let nobody doubt what you are saying. Tell them, give them the right information, refer them to double doctor, refer them to Dr. Matthew, reach out, collect the contact, refer your friends, your family members, so that they don't end up in the wrong hands, so that they don't end up making mistakes that can cost them their lives. This thing is very, very serious. Okay. So this is the link. I'll share it here. So just click on it and join the group, and I'll also share it on the WhatsApp groups. Okay. So yes, I'm really, really glad. Thank you all for joining. And the first person, I said I promised a gift. So who is Okemute Akpoveso? I promised to give away something, so I'm going to be giving away. It's not money this time, but it's actually a training. Okay, I would tell the person what exactly. It's huge. It's very huge. In fact, I'm going to be giving the person access to my inner circle mentoring program. So yes, Okemute and and Chidima is already in, and Victor Okon. So yes, please reach out to me, and we'll take it up from there. I'm seeing another person, the Catholic chorister, and Abiola Koka. So let's make it 5. So please reach out to me, and then I'll show you what I have for you. Thank you all very much. Do have an amazing night rest. Bye everyone. Bye double doctor.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.